Hi, and welcome to the Health Begins with Mom show. I am Dorit Palvanov, your host. On this podcast, I will share insights and interviews on health, parenting, and explore the question of what does it take to thrive as women, wives, and mothers. Now, let's get going with today's episode. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Health Begins with Mom podcast. This is Dorit Palvanov, your host. I am super inspired, and so you might be hearing me driving because I just got off my yoga class, and I was so inspired, and I just had to share with you something that I've learned. I think I mentioned on this podcast that two of my greatest teachers in my life, and I think in your life as well, are my kids. I believe that we are sent the kids that, you know, it's sort of like I believe I actually called them in, like my soul, my sole purpose has called those unique kids, those particular kids that are unique to me, to my experience, and they are those kids who can help me to grow. And if you are interested to learn more about that practice, or about this philosophy of viewing parenting as really an opportunity for personal growth, please go and grab Conscious Parenting by Dr. Shefali Tsabari. She's the author of so many books, but if I could recommend one, then that would be the book. Okay, Conscious Parenting by Dr. Shefali Tsabari. Anyways, and so the other teacher that I currently observe is my yoga practice. And I talk about this a lot on the show, is really learning through embodiment. And what embodiment is that, as you can see in the word embodiment, you have the word body. And it's because through struggles of the body, through challenges of the body, through breath, that is the best, I think, pieces of wisdom that you have as you grow and evolve in a female body. And you know that I'm all about helping you to thrive in your female body, not just survive, not just to get through the day. I remember myself, and sometimes it still happens to me, when, you know, I know that I'm going to have a challenging day ahead of me, and I'm sort of like, I just want the day to finish, to end. And, I just want to get in bed. And so what I want for myself, and I also want this for you, and I also want this for my girls. So if you're raising daughters, this is super, super helpful and beneficial for you to learn, so that you can pass that wisdom on to them. And that is listening to the wisdom and those teachings that are there for you. They're laid out for you always. And the question is, are you listening? And so today I wanted to share with you something that I have, that I'm experiencing personally in my life, and hopefully you can get some benefit from it too. So, last week, my kids were home all week. Let me just take a breath. And so they were home all week long. My kids go to a private school, they go to a Hebrew school, and we celebrated the Passover. And so in the Jewish tradition, Passover is when our kids are off school. It's sort of like a spring break for us. And so in the past, that was the time I resisted the most. Not specifically Passover, any time my kids stayed at home. Because now I can say it. At the time I didn't know why, but I just wanted to get rid of them. I just wanted them not to be around. I wanted to, I wanted the peace. I wanted the quiet. I did not want to take care of anybody. I did not want to control anybody. I did not want to say no 100 times a day. And so I just felt like it's better for me. I don't have them. And now that I'm thinking about this is so, I'm observing myself. At the time, it was really challenging for me. And it's so funny because now I understand, after, of course, I hired a coach for myself and doing my own, taking care of myself and my own needs. I've realized that what I am resisting the most, and that's why it's so painful, it's because I am resisting the what's the word? I'm resisting the strangling and the wisdom also of motherhood, right? Because that we live in a world that is it's a world of duality. There's two sides for everything. So there is a lot of wisdom and beauty and growth, but on the other hand, there is also a lot of strangling. And last episode, I spoke about resisting motherhood, regretting motherhood, right? And so there is those two things that it's just, for me at the time, it was really hard to understand and grasp that this is going to be just part of the process. And so the more you resist it, the more you will suffer and the more pain you will experience. And I will take it even further, and I will say that it will actually affect your life and your health in a very deep and meaningful and not meaningful, in a particular way. So for me, for example, I felt so drained. I felt I don't have any energy, and also I don't have creativity to put out into my work. I felt I don't even want to work with clients, and that was a signal to me, because I love people, I love connecting, I love women, I love my work, and so something wasn't right. And so today, in my yoga practice, as I was moving through the flow, I did a hatha class. I actually did it with Rachel. I think it was episode 18 that I interviewed Rachel. So if you haven't listened to that episode, please go ahead and listen. I love Rachel, the way she teaches, and I think I feel like every class is sort of like custom designed for me, although all women say the same thing. And so today's class, I actually did not go to classes for the past 2 weeks, because the week before, last week my kids were home and it was just chaotic to get out of the house, find a babysitter. So I just said, you know what, I'm just going to practice from home. But obviously when I practice from home, it's like I do shortcuts and I do it like 10 minutes here and 10 minutes there. It's not really, an hour and a half kind of class, and, with no interruptions, no distractions. And also, so I was in the class. I was so angry. I just got so triggered, and I actually felt that kind of like, I just wanted to scream in the class. Like I felt that accumulation of energy that is like, what is this, right? So now after, doing yoga for over 2 years, I know to just sit with it. But if it was in the past, I would get up and leave the class. And so I wanted to share that with you, because I feel like this is one of the best tools that we as mothers, I think we are, and I'll explain why I think this is so valuable for moms, is because as mothers, we are put in a place, it's sort of like by choice, because we choose for the most part to be mothers, but also, it's this is just a part of the process. And so it's important for us to learn how to process that emotion, because so many times you have to be in that place of like, it feels like you're sacrificing. It's like you're doing it's like you're giving up your own needs and wants for somebody else's, right? So for me, for example, I love having a lot of free time for myself, whether it's to read, just to sleep, to spend just by myself without anybody touching me or jumping on me or asking or needing anything from me. I need that time for myself. And whenever I don't have that, I get really angry. Now, in the past, it used to be much more. Now, I guess, as you age and as you sort of like, experience more of it, you become, much wiser and much more patient. But still, it is a struggle for me. And so if I did not learn how to manage myself and how to control that, I would be a very bitter human being. I would be a bitter mother. And I would raise kids who will end up to be just like me. And so this is like, a generational pattern that will be perpetuated. And the way I view my life, this is one of my highest values, is that I want to raise girls that are, that have that kind of wisdom, that have that kind of level of maturity, the personal responsibility to identify what it is that is in my way of, growth. And I'm actually going to take the steps I need to take in order to thrive in my life. Because I believe that we are children of God and it is our responsibility to thrive. And God wants us to thrive. God wants us to be successful. God wants us to be, to do the work that we are destined here to do. There is absolutely no value in just sitting there and suffering through, plowing through life, and then waking up 10, 20 years later and looking back and like, what has happened? Like, where are all these years, right? So this is something that I always work on in my coaching with women, even though I do health coaching and we talk a lot about balancing hormones and balancing blood sugar and all of that stuff. And I do, we do a lot of that, but also I incorporate the wisdom of, the wisdom of the ages, the wisdom of, your female body and the signals that it's giving you, the teachings that your body has in order to help you to thrive, right? And so on my yoga mat today, I felt so angry. I felt this emotion of like, ugh. It was almost like this. But and I had I had eye contact with Rachel, and she knew that I have it, and I feel like she was pushing me even harder because I needed to get it out. And so we've done a lot of breath, we've done a lot of oming. I don't, if you're not familiar with the language of yoga, breath is, it's called ujjayi breath. It's when you basically close your eyes and you're very inward in yourself. You're just sitting still and you are cultivating breath that is it's sort of like ebb and flow. It's sort of like you're emulating the sound of ocean waves, right? So it sounds very much like that. And that kind of breath is very grounding, it's very centering, and it's very soothing and relaxing. And I don't know about you, but I want to be able to soothe myself and calm myself down this way. And as a type A person, you can hear from the way I talk, I'm very kind of like, if I don't learn, and I spoke about the fact that this world is a world of duality, right? There is sort of the yin and the yang, and there are always two forces that are moving all of us. And you keep hearing that, the purpose of life is to get back into balance. And so it's true. It's I like calling it cultivating harmony in your life, but it's very much similar to that. And so I believe, if you are on your journey to heal yourself, to heal your body, please start a dedicated yoga practice. I love doing yoga at home, but it's not enough for me. And so I got I got a membership and I do it twice a week. And it's completely changed my life, right? And I advise you to start yoga, to start practicing yoga at a specific designated yoga studio if you have that close by. But if not, then, whatever, community center, wherever you have yoga offered, please start practicing yoga regularly. This will change your life. So number one is the breath and also the emotional mastery that it gives you. It really gives you tools to control and manage your big and scary emotions. So I hope that was helpful today, my little insight for you. Sit with the emotion. Whenever you're feeling like you're going to explode, it is your responsibility to take a break. Whether it is even, I remember when, especially if you're still home with the kids, with small kids and they're screaming all day long. I remember I would leave my screaming baby in the bed, in her crib where I knew that she's safe. Yes, she's screaming, but she's safe. And I would just go downstairs, and even sometimes I would just open my front door and I would just exit the house so that I don't hear this cry for at least a minute, 2, or even sometimes it was 5. I would just sit on my porch and I would just breathe. Yes, the baby is screaming, but nobody's gonna die from just a little bit of screaming. And a lot of the times kids also know how to soothe and calm themselves down. And also what I've noticed from raising highly sensitive kids, especially one of them, is that they feel your energy. And so when you are agitated, when you're all hyped up, they feel it and they project it back onto you. And so if you remove yourself from the situation, you will be surprised how kids, many times, they just calm down naturally. It's because your negative energy is not surrounding them. And so definitely use that tool to soothe yourself, to control, to sort of manage that hyperactivity that you have of I'm gonna explode. And do that with breath, do that with recentering, with a lot of ease and calm. So yeah, that's my piece of nugget for today. If you are interested to learn more about how to work with me, I do health coaching for women who are particularly struggling with hormonal imbalances. So whether it is depression, if you're having issues with PCOS, PMS symptoms, very heavy and painful periods, or any other symptoms that are hormonal, that are sourced from hormonal imbalances, please get in touch with me. There is absolutely no need for you to suffer. It's not fair to you. It's not fair for your husband or partner you have, and it's not fair for your kids. And like I said, you are a child of God, and you deserve, and you must learn, you must figure out a way to thrive in your life. And so I invite you to connect with me, to reach out to me. You can find me on Facebook. I go under Dorit Palvanov, or you can also email me. So send me an email, dorit@healthbeginswithmom.com, and let's get on the phone. Let's talk. I'm not gonna push anything on you. I might have some really good suggestions for you. You might only need you might only need to just have a conversation with a fellow mom, a fellow woman who is in the trenches right there with you, who's going through similar things, or you actually need to learn how, right? And I can show you how. I've done this hundreds of times, and women, their life changes completely. And I am also one of these women. My life changed always completely. And yeah, so reach out to me. I would love to talk to you, and I'll catch you next time. Bye, love.
Thank you for listening to the Health Begins with Mom show. I love hearing from you, so please post your comments and questions over at healthbeginswithmom.com/podcast. If you love the show, please share it on social media and in your real life with other moms who might enjoy this content. And if you have a burning question or topic you'd like me to hit on the show, just drop me a line at dorit@healthbeginswithmom.com. if you love this show and really want to support it, please go to iTunes, write a review, and subscribe. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you next time. Much love and many blessings.